And being a lifelong bachelor, these were the things that I was thinking about before deciding to marry a former single mom of four.
This is going to help your blended marriage and your new blended family be so successful. Currently, the divorce rate is 60 to 70% for second marriages and blended families. So we're going to help reverse that for you. Okay, we're going to give you girls 5 keys that's going to make your blended relationship, your blended marriage so much more successful.
And this is really key with most masculine energy men coming into a situation where his wife has kids already.
Right. And for those lovely ladies that are new here, what's up? I'm Natasha.
And I'm Brian.
I was a former single mom with 4 kids, went through a whole bunch of trauma and loss. If you're interested in learning more about dating and relationships and feeling good in your body again, I'm talking your hormones, your nervous system, all that.
Click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos and content.
This is a hot topic, and I feel like we've done such an amazing job blending our family, and we have the most amazing marriage. The reason why is we are so intentional. And of course, we got to save the best for last, number 1. So let's start off with number 5.
Number 5, really doing the inner work and the inner healing. With me formally being engaged back in 2019, before we got together, it was a lot of inner work and inner healing that I needed to do before I was able to move forward and marry the love of my life.
Thanks, baby.
So really just getting counseling, getting therapy, but also being intentional about making changes in those areas, because it's one thing to get the information, but it's another to be intentional and to see the areas in which I may have just been comfortable in that I needed to make changes on. So being able to do the inner healing and the inner work really allowed me to be prepared, and I didn't know at the time, be prepared to blend my single bachelor self with a single mom of 4.
And I bet you didn't think you were going to marry a single mom with 4 kids.
Had no idea. Didn't even think I would marry someone with kids. That wasn't the plan. But when you do the work and when you're intentional, your eyes open up and you're able to see things and say, okay, I may have thought this way about it, but start to question, why did I think I couldn't marry a single mom? Why am I looking for this type of woman? Is this what I need? Is this what's healthy? Or do I have to open myself up to just be able to receive who God is sending my way?
That's so good. I'm glad you said that. So this was something that I was super, super intentional about because I got 4 kids. I have 4 kids that went through major trauma losing their dad. So I knew that I had to be really, really intentional about their healing and most importantly, my healing, because our kids reflect us. If mom is doing good or dad's doing good, kids do good. If mom's a basket case and triggered and wounded and broken, we pass that down onto our kids because they're watching how we date. They're watching who we pick. We're literally programming their nervous system as we are dating and getting married. So this for me, I took it super, super seriously. But a couple things that just really, really helped that I encourage the single moms to do is just doing your inner work, inner healing. So healing masculine energy wounds, healing, energy, healing wounds from past relationships, divorce, clear all of that out of your energy, which is so important. Really getting clear on who you're calling in, not only as a husband, but as a dad, right? Because that person is going to come in as a stepdad, as a bonus dad, whatever you want to call it. Include your kids in it. When I included my kids in the process, you get more buy-in, because otherwise what happens is kids are fighting the whole process. My kids would have been totally fine with me being single for the rest of my life. They wanted that, right? But they don't get to choose that. So, but incorporating the kids into the whole process and showing them that they're safe, showing their nervous systems that they're safe, including therapists and coaches and whatever it is that you need in the process, will help so much.
Number 4 key, put your marriage first. And that sounds simple, but it's so key, especially in a situation where the guy is coming in or the lady's coming in to a situation where they don't have kids. The other person has kids. And it's so easy because you've all depended on each other for the last 2 years, 4 years, however long it's been. You've been dependent on each other, and that's for emotional support. That's to take care of things around the house. Those things get reorganized, and you have to put that marriage first. So the way you did things at first, you may have to make a shift on it. He may want to do things differently. She may want to do things differently. And you have to be open to it, because if you just have them come in and that's the other partner come in and just follow what you've already done, follow the system, then they don't feel like they're really a part of it. They don't feel like, okay, you're putting them first. You're putting the needs of the kids first, potentially. You're putting your own needs first, and not looking to each other to see how we can prosper in this marriage, and not looking at what can we do together to make this marriage prosper. How can we make each other happy? What can we do to enjoy this marriage? Because now this family is being added to, and also with the man coming in, he's coming in his protector, provider energy, and he needs the space to be that man, to be the provider, to be the one who's taking care of the household. And if he doesn't have that space, then there's no marriage there. And men can feel if they're not the priority. Men can feel if they're not the one who's the head of the household. They can feel that energy. They can feel that you don't depend on them that way, that you're not giving them that space to be that person. And most men aren't going to take it. It's something that in that marriage that you have to make space for him coming in, which we had conversations about as well.
Yeah.
How can we come in, make the marriage first, prioritize me being the head of the household, while also making the kids feel comfortable?
Yeah, because you have to build that trust there as well. But I'm so glad we're talking about this, because I think this does not happen a lot in marriages. And that is really honoring each other, really prioritizing each other, really putting the marriage before the kids. Now, exactly what you said, when you're a single mom, you're just so used to, especially because a lot of us have mom guilt, just doing everything for the kids. So what that looked like for us was, first of all, just showing the kids and teaching the kids about marriage and how God has created the family unit, and how, God is first and the marriage is foundational. That comes first. And then, they benefit from that, right? It's not like you're just, it's not like, oh, you're just, pushing the kids to the side at all. No, you actually help your kids more by putting your marriage first, because the marriage is the foundation. So some simple things that we did, and I was really aware of this also because I was previously married. I had a very healthy first marriage before he passed away. So I think I was already kind of trained in that sense of knowing what it means to be a godly wife, right? Where you're serving your husband, you're helping your husband, but in doing that, and doing that, he's elevating you, he's protecting you, he's literally treating you like a freaking princess every single day, because you're his safe place. You're making that house that home. So little things that we do is, and that we're super intentional about, in the bedroom, for example, we have boundaries in the bedroom where I was used to the kids, jumping in the bed, sleeping with mom, all that stuff for the last few years. And once we got married, we did not live together before marriage, but once we did get married, bedroom is off limits. Bed is off limits to the kids, right? That's our safe place. That's our sacred place. And that made you feel like, this is ours. Because you're coming in as a bachelor with no kids to all of a sudden household full of kids.
And it's so important, because when you come into a situation where you're a bachelor and no kids, so much is given to the kids in the relationship. We have to consider them with everything, with what we're eating, with where we're living, just everything. And that's not a problem. But you have to have that space where it's just you and her, where you have your time together, where there are no interruptions, where you can do whatever your married duties or whatever you decide to do. You just know you have that space for it. And it's important to have those conversations, because those areas, you may think about it differently. You may not even think that that's an issue for him, but having those conversations, he's able to let you know, and you all are able to make decisions that work for both of you all, and that just work for the marriage.
Yeah, and I encourage you to even ask each other, what makes you feel respected? What makes you feel honored? And listen to what he's saying, because it might not, it's likely things you're not thinking about. Because I can even say with us, it was things I was not thinking about. Okay, so you got to ask him what's important for that person. And even if he hasn't done that for you, that's okay. You can still lead by example, right? Some other simple things that we do that are small but are good. This is so good. He never lets me open the door, ever. Ever, ever, ever. The car doors, the doors, carrying anything heavy, never. taking the garbage out, never. Like and the kids are watching how he's treating me, right? And if we're out and about, he's always making sure that mom walks in first. Like if he's opening the door, he makes the kids open the door, and mom always walks in first. And that's how he shows them how you honor your mom. Another simple thing that we do that makes a difference is when we're eating, dad eats first, right? And it's just one of those things. Or if he's cooking, because we take turns, we don't take turns cooking, but we both cook. I guess
we know what we like to eat. Like I'll cook tacos because I enjoy
we
it.
have our specialties.
Yeah, we have our specialties.
Yes, and trust me, bachelor food, side note, is the best food ever. This is why I put on weight before. Okay, side note. But anyway, so when he cooks, he's always serving me first, and when I'm cooking, for the family, I'm serving him first and before the kids. And these are like the little things that show, the hierarchy in the home and how we honor each other.
Point 3, having those boundaries and structures in place to make sure the marriage can flourish. And it usually starts with making sure you have those agreements and conversations about how we discipline the kids, which is super key, a super strong point for men entering into a relationship where those kids may not biologically be theirs. And this is really key with most masculine energy men coming into a situation where his wife has kids already.
Right.
We had conversations before we even got married about how we discipline, who's able to discipline. And with these not being my biological kids, it could be a tough conversation because men come in with, okay, this is what we need to do. And it's not about hitting the kids or anything that, but it's really about making sure they're disciplined in different areas. And sometimes when you're a single mom, what happens is you don't have the time, the energy to discipline them. You may have the mom guilt like you talk about. So kids know and get away with so much. So it's a lot of undoing when the man comes in, but giving him that space to discipline, to do things that make sense for the kids. They may not feel good, but knowing that this is helping them in their future as they become adults, that they need to be more disciplined, they need to have more structure. And the structure and discipline is really where we come in and just want to make sure things are to the point where we have peace in the house. That's the whole thought behind it.
Absolutely.
The peace comes with structure and discipline, and men come with that. So it's giving him space and having those conversations to have that role in the marriage.
Now, the discipline can be kind of a touchy subject. And when we're talking about discipline, we're not talking about hitting the kids or having that guy. Like, side note for women, like, we are assuming you as a woman have done your due diligence in choosing a healthy man, right? Like, we are not talking about men that are toxic, that should not be left alone with kids, should not be disciplined kids. This video is not for you.
Right.
We are talking to healthy women and healthy men that are in a healthy marriage that just want to improve it. Okay. I feel like I should insert that in there, right? But yes, it's really important that the man has a say and feels like he has that role in providing that structure, right? Masculine energy is all about structure and boundaries. They thrive in that. And frankly, feminine energy and children cannot thrive without structure and boundaries. It'll be complete chaos. So we need that structure to actually feel safe, for our nervous systems to feel safe, for our kids to feel safe. But here's the thing. Disciplining without relationship leads to rebellion. So it's actually really important you have fun together and you really spend time building the bond. Especially with a new person coming into the picture, it is all about building trust with the kids. Because the more the kids feel relaxed, they feel like they can trust, the easier it's going to be for your whole household, right? It's important for everybody. So with that structure, with that discipline, with that follow through, which is so important, you also need to spend time really building the bond and relationship with each other. Otherwise, you're just going to have a whole bunch of headbutting and fighting and rebelling. Which I also want to point out that, yes, my kids did rebel at the beginning. Yes, my kids were super triggered. That is normal, okay? Because there's change happening. Their nervous system is being triggered. But like I teach my girls in our programs, is triggering is actually just a sign of healing. So we, in those situations, use those opportunities for healing.
And it was so important because, like you said, we were super intentional with it. And really having that background coaching teams in
Yes.
sports and in business really helps coming into a situation similar to this, because we already know how to build a team. We know how to build confidence. We know that there are steps to gaining that trust. So
Yeah.
being particular, making sure on that love list, not only provide an energy man, but a man who knows how to build relationships, a man who knows how to build teams and has structure is so key. Otherwise, he can be a great guy, but being in a relationship and being with someone who has kids can be overbearing for him if he's not strong in those areas.
And I was super intentional about calling in a husband that had experience with kids. I did not expect to be marrying a bachelor, but the fact that he had so much experience coaching and leading teams and kids and teenagers, I was like, okay, he'll be good. He'll be fine. And it has been. So point 2 was to have fun together. It's actually really, really important for your nervous systems, for your kids' nervous systems, to play together, to have fun together, to have family time together. It makes the disciplining part easier, and it makes that whole bonding way more easy for each other.
Totally 100% agreed. And it could be going out for ice cream. It could just be playing games together, going swimming, whatever it is. It's so important. And we've seen the results of incorporating that into our marriage, into our family. And that's something that's such a big part of just growing in our relationship. It gives you space to say things that in other times the kids will look at you crazy because who are you? But when you do that, when you take interest in them as people, that's so key. What, not just kids, but as people, that's key, because that takes the guards down for them.
Oh, that was so good, babe. And even fun in our marriage. That is one thing that we are so intentional about in this marriage, is prioritizing date night, married night, fun married time together on a very regular basis. And you know, that keeps everyone happy. Gotta have fun. And actually releases more oxytocin, which calms the nervous system, which actually calms the cortisol, and which is just helpful for the body as well. All right, last but not least, the most important point for having a successful blended marriage and blended family is keeping God center. You have to. I honestly can't imagine not doing this. This is something that we were super intentional about when we started dating for marriage. We started praying together on a very regular basis. And even in this marriage, we pray together every single day, even if it's 2 minutes at the very beginning of the day, but we pray together. And statistically, people that pray together, the rate of divorce goes down drastically.
Not only as a couple, but individually. You want to make sure the person that you're marrying or are married to already lives this way, already has a praying lifestyle. So it's an easy transition to do it together. But what it does for us is it allows us, no matter how we feel, no matter what's in front of us for the day, no matter what happened, we're able to come to that meeting place of praying and just relaxing and saying, okay, God, this is how I feel. This is what's going on, but we thank you. So coming in a thankful spirit daily keeps us connected, keeps us locked into our marriage.
So good. And ladies, if you're single or if your man is not a praying guy, it starts with you. Don't worry about him. You spend time praying. And this is something I was super intentional about, where I wanted to call in a man of God as a husband and as a bonus dad for my kids. So I had to check myself and be like, where's my relationship with God? Right? Because if I want him to be a faithful man of God king, well, I need to be in my queenship. I need to have a healthy, healed relationship with God, and I need to be putting God first. And so I did do that. I really rededicated my life to the Lord, got baptized, really nourished and healed that relationship with God. And lo and behold, right after I did that, this guy comes into the picture. So we've just continued it on together.
So ladies, let us know what you think in the comments. We have so many more programs that can help you in this area, and we'll leave the links for you below.
We love you, ladies.